our $250 bonus from that anonymous donor. Way to go, St. Jude's. Sooner or later here, Redeemer's going to give us a updated pledge total. That's fantastic. You know, we're working on $6,500, and we're thinking about what good that might do. And we've heard a little bit about the Social Action Committee, a little bit about St. Vincent de Paul Society at St. Jude's. But this goal here for Redeemer Radio this spring, $6,500, the amount of people that we might be able to reach through the quality programming that the Lord allows to come to fruition. What a blessing. And I want to come back for a moment. You know, we think about a life well lived before the Lord and decades at a parish and the fruitfulness. How many, for your own families, how many, would you guess, baptisms have you witnessed or had along the way from perhaps children or grandchildren or nieces or nephew? I mean,
all my kids were baptized.
Okay.
All my kids were baptized.
One of them in the old church and the rest of them at the new church.
Excellent.
4 grandchildren.
That's so great.
And one of them was baptized there.
Okay. Excellent. I mean, you got to think about just maybe right there a dozen or more, you know, baptisms. That's such a blessing. That's great. Well, what a glorious thing to think about. Now we have yet another piece of good news to share. I didn't even know this was in the wind, but I think our staff back here just they had a trick up their sleeve. They were waiting. There's another anonymous donor that is willing to give Redeemer Radio $500 if we can reach 10 more pledges from St. Jude's. And our total right now, $1,565. So we're still working on that $6,500. But if we can get 10 more pledges, we have that other donor for $500. So that's something really worth striving for. Well, you know, I want to pause for the moment. I think one thing we have to ask Father Michael about, you are assigned as chaplain at Bishop Dwinger High School. Mm-hmm. Many of us living here, of course, know about Dwinger, and so if somebody's just tuning in for the first time, one of our local Catholic high schools, of which we have 2 on our side, 2 on the South Bend side. The life of a high school chaplain is probably a very interesting one, and we're going to have a lot to ask you about, but I know we're coming up on our break halfway here through the hour. So, Father Michael, I'm going to ask you to discern over the next few minutes what you might share with listeners about serving as a chaplain, what that work looks like for you. We're going to take our break. During the break, you can still call or text 260-436-9598. Text the word give or call redeemerradio.com as well as another great way to give. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few short minutes.
You never know how far the Holy Spirit can take your gift to Redeemer Radio. Our programs strengthen faithful parents, teachers and catechists, even our local priests who take the truth of the faith they hear on Redeemer Radio and share it even further. Your support will help spread the seeds of faith right here in our community.
I'm a firm believer that even as a father and as a husband, I'm very limited in my effect. I think sometimes when we live with people in the same house every day, we may not be overly effective. And sometimes they need a voice that they're not used to hearing. And I truly believe that God works through stations like Redeemer Radio to evangelize, and sometimes people just need to hear a different perspective or someone saying the same thing but coming from someone else. And I think that Redeemer Radio has a way of, through its programming, both the national stuff and then the local stuff, it has a way of getting a message across that is uplifting and not just beating you over the head. It's informative, but yet fun as well. So sometimes, especially with young people, when their parents give them this message, it doesn't resonate as much as it should, but sometimes when they hear it from, someone else, the same thing, it can resonate a little bit better, so.
We need your support to continue sharing the good news. Give securely online by going to redeemerradio.com and click Give Now, or call 260-436-9598.
This is Leonard DiLorenzo from the McGrath Institute for Church Life at the University of Notre Dame and host of Church Life Today on Redeemer Radio. On Church Life Today, we have conversations with pastoral leaders and scholars from around the country about issues that matter most to the church today. Thank you for listening and supporting Catholic programming like Church Life Today, heard right here on Redeemer Radio.
It costs about $150 to provide Redeemer Radio listeners with 1 hour of Catholic programming. All donors who give this amount or more automatically qualify for a specially designed t-shirt. Call today and support Redeemer Radio's efforts to amplify the voice of the Creator with content that invites.
Joining our mission is even easier with our mobile app. Download Redeemer Radio's app to your Apple or Android device and click Give Now.
Your investment helps listeners on every part of their faith journey. Call or text GIVE to the Holy Cross College text line at 260-436-9598 or donate online at redeemerradio.com. This is Redeemer Radio's Sharathon. Thank you for tuning in to your listener-supported local Catholic radio station.
Good evening, listeners. We are back for the closing half hour of Redeemer Radio's Spring Sharathon. It's a joy to be with you all. I'm your host, Zach Coyle. I am the principal at St. Vincent de Paul here in Fort Wayne, but really excited to be here with some wonderful people from St. Jude's. And, of course, many of you might have been listening for our first half, but we are joined by either lifetime or close to it parishioners, Joanne, Liz, and Sheila, and it's just a joy to have you on the air with us. And, of course, Father Michael Ammer, newly ordained at 9 months, which is great. So we asked Father Michael, and we'll have you do that in just a minute. We actually had some more pledges come in while we were in over the break. And so right now we're working on a total of 10 new pledges. It looks like we have many of them, actually. And if we hit that, we have another anonymous gift of $500 kicking in. So some people to thank. Ann Nicholas, thank you so much. Shane and Aaron Starr, thank you. Craig Bobe, thank you, Craig. Diana and Matt Delaney. Okay, the Delaney family has been out in force. Way to go, Delaney's. God bless you all. I mean that. God bless everybody that's donated. Please don't think I'm playing favorites. Mike and Dee Dee Dom. I love hearing this. We have so many pledges. God bless you all. We're now up to 25 pledges. We're just 5 away from a matching $500 gift. So St. Jude's listeners, maybe you're happening to be at the fish fry. Crank up the volume. Let's get some people donating. Maybe you're eating some delicious pollock, cod. I really don't know my fish types, so I'm just kind of throwing out walleye. It could be walleye.
Could be. Well, I'll let you know here in a little bit.
Yeah, there's okay, swai. I don't know, but anyway, we are really blessed here at Redeemer Radio to have so many pledges coming in. And if you're just tuning in now, you can support us 260-436-9598. You can call that number or text the word GIVE and make a donation that way, or log on to redeemerradio.com or the Redeemer Radio app. So please continue to make those pledges. Also, Mr. and Mrs. Jerome Dom, thank you so much for your donation. And this is in memory of Ed Dom, Jerry's father. What a blessing to just hear of the family life and memory there. That's great. It really is a joy to hear about the different donations made in memory of people who have, certainly in the case of a father, but who have shaped our faith life. So, also, Joan, your sister Sue, Joanne, this is for Joanne. Sorry, I'm reading this wrong. Joanne, your sister Sue made a donation in your honor.
Sue.
All right, Sue.
I was
whoop,
with her
whoop.
today.
That's awesome. What a joy. Family really can root us in Christ so powerfully. So that's a blessing. But Father Michael, we want to come back to you because you have a dual role. So associate pastor, but also enacting the role of chaplain at Bishop Dwinger High School. So tell us a little bit about what does your assignment there entail? What are some of your duties that you fulfill there?
I guess primarily it's kind of the sacraments, so I'll hear confessions and say Mass for them. Maybe after school, or even occasionally there's Mass or certain things going on during the school day.
Sure.
And then besides that, I'm just wandering the classrooms. Kind of just like, saying hi to the kids.
So I'm going to show my math ignorance, even though I serve as principal. But have you wandered into a math classroom and then been caught with higher level calculus you had to perform? I don't know.
Not yet.
Okay.
I've stopped in at the math class. There's one Spanish class is always interesting to go in. So you have Phil Didier, so he teaches Spanish.
Okay.
And he puts the pressure on the kids, and he just just goes fast paced. You better. He'll tell you something. If you don't know the answer, you have to sit down, stand up, do something.
You're doing. It sounds like you're doing some push-ups and some jumping jacks. And
I think there's probably some of that there going on too, and that's that's always a lot of fun to stop in because.
Pues, señor Didier, muchas gracias por tu ayuda. Mi español es mal,
Yeah.
so I've got to study from him a lot more. But that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's great.
So it's been a lot of fun, and then I'll go to so then besides being there a few times a week for classes or during the school day, then during the evenings, if I'm free, I'll then usually try to make a sports game.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So that's always a lot of fun to be
Now,
with the
do
team.
they give you an opportunity? I don't know that it exists, honestly, for a sporting event. It might be that the schedule wouldn't allow it, but do they give you an opportunity to lead a prayer before the team would start to play, or is that not really part of it?
Usually.
Okay.
I mean, it depends, but usually if I'm there before the game starts, I will say a prayer.
Fantastic.
And yeah, it's usually so during the regular season, the sport it's allowed, but then I remember during the sectionals game, I went and did it. I went and said a prayer at the beginning.
Okay.
And then the next day, the athletic director just kind of told me it's play out during the off season, you're not really supposed to do that.
Okay.
And I'm
the intensity ramps up,
okay,
right?
I guess
Yeah.
you're not allowed to. I guess probably by the state rules, I think you're not supposed to.
Well,
do
that's that speaks maybe. I think it's St. Paul, and please correct me if I'm wrong, any of you, but because I don't claim to be an expert there, but who tells us pray without ceasing, and so there's that opportunity in our hearts to lead that prayer, and so that's part of discerning the life, right? About when to pray out loud and publicly, and at times
that,
maybe we choose not to. But we've had a few more pledges while we've been reflecting on this, and I definitely want to ask you more about your time at Dwinger still. This is pretty incredible because we have some family, some connected family units here that must be just working together here. We've got another pledge from Jim Delaney. Thank you so much.
He's the dad of all those other.
Oh, okay. All right. So Sheila knows that he is the patriarch. He's the dad. Way to go, Jim. Also from Jacqueline Didier. Way to go, Didier family. This is really fun. We have now just one more pledge, and we can receive a $500 bonus from an anonymous donor. I'd really like us to meet that because I know our staff here is going to then pull out another card. They've got somebody else who's going to walk in and say, I'm going to give you $1 million if you get, two more. No, that probably, I'm exaggerating both the dollar amount and the number of but still, this is great. Our current total, by the way, this is pretty exciting. $3,220. Way to go, St. Jude's. This is a lot to be proud of. Thank you to all of our families who are really helping us here. That is fantastic. So, Father Michael, back to you for a minute. So when you are going to the classes, because we're talking a little bit about your prayer life with the sports games, and certainly if it's a playoff, we really have to teach our children in the schools. Pray without ceasing is real, but there's times when we may not, say a public prayer. But when you're in the classrooms, are you helping to just kind of listen in? Are you leading prayers there? What does it look like for you to visit a classroom? Or are you talking more about your vocation story? Or are you just saying hi?
It's usually a lot of just saying hi. Sometimes the teacher will invite me in, because maybe half the time I just pop my head in, then either the students are just working on something kind of quietly, or the teacher is teaching something.
So they just have a Nerf gun ready to give you, so that you can. I'm kidding. That's my theme for today, right?
If only. And then I just know it's okay, hi, and then bye.
Right.
But then there's other times where they tell me to come on in, and then I'll just sit while the teacher teaches.
Okay.
Or there's times where the teachers are happy to stop everything and then get the students involved in asking questions, and that's been good too. Where that's kind of they've opened up a lot more, because it seemed like when I first started, it was a lot of just blank stares from the students, be like, "Who are you?" And now they all know. It's it's Father Michael. And
so much of our faith is truly relational.
Yep,
really going back to Scripture. When Christ first sent out the disciples, it was 2 by 2. It wasn't singly, right? There was relation kind of built in.
Yep.
And so I think building that relationship, for a lot of us, it might be that for a young person to come with willingness to the sacrament of confession, they may never do that without knowing who you are and seeing you there. So it's sometimes we don't always know the fruitfulness that an effort for the Lord, might make. So thank you for going to the classes. That's great.
Yep.
What has been, so we'll switch back to St. Jude's here, but one final question for you. What's been something that's been, is there a fun memory that you might have from your starting time as chaplain? What's been something you've enjoyed?
At St. Jude's?
Yeah. Well, I thought about Dwinger first because we were still on that, but both, really.
Yeah.
We're going to come back to you on that one because I know there's so much to think about,
yeah,
right? You have
yeah.
so many memories of different games or teams or a class. Or
Yeah.
How often will you celebrate Mass for Dwinger?
It's usually maybe once or twice a week.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so like one very memorable was when the football team at the end of the season last year, like it was kind of a rough season, and we like lost. We did not have a good game against Snyder in the season,
right?
And then we faced Snyder for sectionals, and it was just great because we came off winning.
All right. Nice.
So that was definitely a great thing.
So on that celebration of the victory against Snyder, we want to think about our imminent victory because our phone volunteers are getting pretty antsy right now because if we get one more pledge, there's an additional $500 pledge coming in. And so you can be that donor, and the dollar amount I don't think is at all restricted. So you can make a $1 pledge. So call or text 260-436-9598, and you can text the word give or call that number. And we do have a number of phone volunteers who are really amped up to give us that $500 donation if we get one more pledge. You can also go to RedeemerRadio.com or use the Redeemer Radio app. And this is a great time because we're down to our final 15 minutes of the entire phone's ringing. Whoop, whoop. That's awesome. Yeah. That's great. Thank you to whoever is calling at the moment. It's pretty fun to hear that response. But we are down to our final 15 minutes for the Sharathon, so it's really a joy to see this great support from St. Jude's. So thinking a little bit more about life at St. Jude's, we were talking a little bit in the break just about some of the other ministries, Sheila, Liz, Joanne, that you all are involved in. One of the ones that's a little bit on hiatus now, but you're hoping that will kind of restart and have some fervor behind it, some of the adult education that you remember being a real just powerhouse of the faith, it sounds like, over these last years. Tell us a little bit about, Liz, if you would, like what kinds of things would you do at St. Jude's for adult formation?
We would have classes that would run like 3 consecutive classes on a particular part of the Bible or a particular aspect of the Catholic faith.
Okay.
And we would have, one time we had an artist come and do pictures as she talked about her experiences.
Excellent.
And filled in the face of Christ.
Okay.
If you will.
Sure.
Mostly it was the classes that we had.
Okay.
So it was an ongoing thing. We are not in a total hiatus because that person you heard about before, Mary Coleman,
sounds like
makes sure that something happens on a regular basis.
She is a true disciple.
She is.
This is
definitely
Mary. What's Mary's last name again?
Pullman.
Mary, you have a fan club here in the studio right now. So if you've ever felt down, like, am I really reaching my community? You are. You have a flock that is just singing your praises. And, you know, as we think about that generosity, hear about the adult formation, we did get that other pledge. Way to go, St. Jude's. Julianne and Buck Tenya, way to go. You brought us to 30 pledges, which means we have that anonymous gift that kicked in of $500, which means St. Jude's now has a total of $4,000. Way to go, St. Jude's. That's fantastic. And just one more pledge just came in now. Chris and Carol Ann Eckrich, thank you so much for your donation. Yeah. Well, it's wonderful when you know who's calling in and donating. Isn't that great? And that's really a privilege as a host to kind of see that love that's out there. Delaney family, oh my gosh, you need an award. Dan and Amy Delaney. We've got to make some kind of plaque here or something. I don't know what it would be, but this is just great. Shannon Hilger, thank you for your gift. This is fantastic.
She's a Delaney.
Oh, she's a Delaney too. Sheila knows. This is great. We need to do this more often. This is really fun. I'm envisioning right now. I don't know exactly how the fish fry is set up. Where does it run out of? I mean, I know the campus. It's just out in the parking lot, drive-through.
Yeah.
Well, they're blaring it for the cars going by, right? I mean, this is fantastic. We also have Christopher Tenya. Thank you, Christopher. This is great. What a joy. More pledges coming in now. Well, so we're talking about the adult formation, but also funeral dinners. And to me, this has always been a ministry that I've really been impressed with because you're willing to enter into a family's grief. And that can be a very uncomfortable thing to choose to do. And yet we make that choice because we know the Lord calls us to do that. So how long have you all been involved in that ministry?
I've been in it probably 8 or 10 years.
Okay, fantastic.
And,
do you have a favorite thing to cook for seriously, I really do mean that, for a funeral dinner?
well,
prepare?
actually, I don't do the cooking.
Oh, okay, what do you do?
I do. I have a favorite thing.
Okay,
I
Liz
always-
does.
I always
Yeah.
have a corn casserole.
Oh, great.
That's always-
Awesome.
I have
Yeah.
the goods on hand whenever
Yes.
I need.
Okay.
There's different people that do different things. Like
Yeah.
I am at the beginning of it, and I call to get the people to bring the food, and then
Okay.
I'm also there the day of the funeral to serve it.
Oh, great.
And
Thanks,
they
Joan.
have a
then there's some-
beautiful setup so that it's not just things put on a table.
Okay.
They have tablecloths, they have
Sure.
flowers, they have candles, and
So there's
you
a
know,
real
the
moment of
Madonna.
We have
beauty
little
there.
Mary
They
statues.
make a tremendous effort to make it a very special, beautiful place.
Well, I really appreciate that, and I asked about the food very deliberately because we think about the communion feast as central to our faith for one, but one of the joys I have as a school principal is I get to announce every day the lunch menu, and we have a very good lunch, right? So I tell the kids, and I mean this, like, so what if you're having a bad day? Because we always ask them, how do you see God in your school day? And I hope the obvious answer is as we continue to ask ourselves that, and I give examples, from my own day when we close announcements, but we talk about what are your teachers doing for you? What did your friends do for you? And those are the obvious, right? But if you're having a bad day and you get to go have, I think today we had like a baked potato that was like a spud with cheese sauce and all this good stuff, right? Yesterday we had Irish stew because, St. Patty's Day. So there's something, though, in your ministry when a family truly is grieving that actually can bring comfort, and help remind that the Lord's love is ever present, in whatever phase of life is in. So that's a beautiful gift. We have had one more pledge come in, 2 more pledges come in. Joyce and let's see here, or Joyce Racine. Thank you, Joyce. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Yep.
Sorry.
Oh,
if I'm
yeah.
not.
That's right.
I am. All right.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Joyce. Your friends are with you here. That's great. Mr. and Mrs. Tom Obergfell. Way to go. That's awesome. And Mr. and Mrs. Tom Wagner. Thank you, St. Jude's, for your generosity. This is fantastic. And Joan White. Way to go, Joan. That's awesome.
Oh,
Or
I
is
did
Joanne?
that.
That's
That's
you.
me, but
You're
I
giving
did,
your pledge
well,
now.
I did that like
Okay, so
3 weeks
this,
ago.
It sounds like I don't know how to read, but we
But-
just don't have a hyphen that this system can create to make it Joanne. So I promise I'm a
Oh.
literate principal. Don't worry, St. Vincent.
I'm
if you're
used to
listening. That's great. Joanne, thank you for bringing a gift with you, too. Really, that's fantastic. God bless you. So, as we're coming to our final 8 to 10 minutes, not only of the St. Jude's Hour, but the Spring Sharathon, wherever you might be driving in the car listening. We're kind of winding down a week. If we're thinking about our faith, or you might be listening, wondering about faith and kind of wondering what we're doing, but sometimes the Lord first speaks to us through generosity. And it can be somebody being generous to us that sparks that in turn, right? And I was thinking about that with this funeral dinner effort because, that's a moment of grief when we're really not able to be as generous and we need to receive that generosity. But who might we inspire from that? And I can think about the loss of relatives in my life over the years. And I think about some funeral dinners that we've had and how there was love in that moment, and you never know how that might spark some future generosity. So if you're still listening now, 260-436-9598. You can call that number or text the word give and make a pledge. RedeemerRadio.com or the Redeemer Radio app. We still have time to support St. Jude's and Redeemer Radio's powerful ministry. We are just $2,000 away from the overall goal for St. Jude's of $6,500. It's been an incredibly generous hour, so please keep them coming, St. Jude's. We've got to have a lot of listeners at the fish fry. That's fantastic. Do you know, how many people might actually work the fish fry to help cook or get the food out or anything like that?
It's only carry out.
Okay.
But
Well,
but
the Knights
it
of
still
Columbus
takes,
do it,
Right,
so
yeah.
I don't know how many.
I know. The Knights, we have, I think, over maybe 100 members.
Okay.
Now, I mean, so.
There go the phones. Thank you, St.
But we do,
Jude's.
yeah. But I think I saw before I came here, like in the kitchen, maybe like 10 guys were in the kitchen prepping things, and then there was probably another handful of guys in a trailer. And that's where they're actually cooking the fish.
All right.
Because that's who.
Now, see, that's smart because a lot of our fish fries we do indoors, right? And then, of course, you got the fried, the fry oil.
Yeah.
So that's going to leave, just that kind of aroma. But the trailer, I mean, that's love, right? They're hopping into a tight time.
There's 30 nights.
Hey, all right, we got the answer. Way to go.
50, yeah.
They called in and told us. This is great. 30 nights are working a fry. So if you, now how late will this go tonight? Like 8
7.
o'clock?
So
7
we got
o'clock.
until 7. So
You got to get out there,
Well,
gang.
you got an hour.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. It's
Pick up
not
some
that far.
fish. All right, Knights, if you're really on your game right now, and you have been, I'm really impressed with you, sincerely. I mean that. So call us back and let us know what type of fish it is. I was just throwing out any fish name I could think of. Flounder. I don't know. Give me another. I got to think through my fish. I wasn't prepared for that, you know? You never know what you're going to do as a host. Like, let's categorize our fish types here. Goldfish.
Goldfish, yeah. Fried goldfish.
We actually are having Colin joking happening right now. Maybe it actually is a goldfish. Can you later let me know? Father Michael, I'm gonna put this on you. Let me know which night is calling us in with this. This is great. I really love it. Oh, St. Jude's, your generosity and the joy on air is so fun. You know, so when we think about kind of the rest of Lent that we have, and then the Holy Week to come, and of course Easter, is there a certain tradition that the parish has? Because I think as we're getting near to the final minutes of our Sharathon, you know, that's something we're all, you know, like, why are we here? The resurrection of Jesus Christ is the starting moment of all of it, right? And really the finishing moment of all of it when we think about where our faith calls us. So as you think about Easter, is there a certain tradition the parish has? Every parish is a little bit different, or a Lenten tradition? I mean, obviously the fish fry is one of them. We've got goldfish we're frying up right now. I mean, that's awesome.
But I want to I mean, Liz already spoke to it a bit, but we've got this program. St. Jude is unusual because we have the parish tithe, which we allocate through social action.
Right.
And we have a social action committee.
Yes.
That's very active.
Yes.
And we've started a tradition. Probably this is the 7th year that we've done the stations of service. So every Saturday, that's what I wanted to meet. It's not all about money here.
Right.
Every Saturday we go. We were at Vincent Village and we do a work of mercy.
Oh, that's beautiful.
See, so last Saturday was Shelter the Homeless. Now we're going to the thrift store tomorrow, and that's Clothe the Naked. So every service opportunity matches up with a work of mercy. And the last week, we're going to go spring clean at the cemetery because we have to bury the dead, right?
Right.
And that's a family affair. A lot of kids come. So anyway, so that's how we go through Lent at St. Jude's.
Did the socks for those in jail.
For the jail.
Hey, that's a beautiful ministry.
And
I made Father Mike help me put them in my trunk.
And and we do fishes and loaves for associated churches. So all during Lent we collect the crackers and the tuna and salmon. And so I took it down the other day, the first load, 200 pounds of food.
That's
we aren't
a
done.
lot of food.
We aren't done. We have another.
That's amazing.
Lent, so.
You know, I mean this authentically. I think if our good Lord was here, physically in the flesh in the way that he was, in his public ministry, this is the kind of thing he would have us do right now,
St. Jude is extremely generous in anything we ask
you present to them.
Because we have a Mother's Day baby shower.
Yes.
Wind up with huge amounts.
That's incredible. Well, just hearing about from that one effort of 200 pounds of food, that's incredible. So, and the generosity of tonight, really, and I hope anybody who's donated, if you're still listening, and we had another pledge just come in, Kathleen, is it Tebby? Do I have that right? Mm-hmm. Kathleen, thanks. I've got some help here now, right? So I can make sure my pronunciation is right. Really, for all of you, that generosity clearly is alive and well. So thank you. The mission of Redeemer Radio, how many, seriously, hundreds, thousands of people might be reached from the programming to come because of these gifts. And so it's such a beautiful thing to think about what you've given. We've got just a few minutes left, so we're gonna call it out one more time, 260-436-9598. Call or text the word give. Log on to RedeemerRadio.com, Redeemer Radio app. And if you are not able to do that, at least go by St. Jude's in the next hour before 7 p.m. You're going to be one of the only Fort Wayne residents to sample fried goldfish. I mean, I'm thinking we got like the little cheese crackers here. We're cooking them up, Can you fry one of them? I think it would disintegrate if you tried it. Knights, I can't wait to meet you because this has been a lot of fun with the banner back and forth, but that is great. Also to let you know, if you do want to give after 6, you still can donate online. And actually, Redeemer Radio does have a lot of people who will make gifts after their specific hour, has come to a close. So the Sharathon will remain an active force for good, sharing many things. So what should we got to encourage our Knights because we've got like a minute left, right? So they're up there, they're in their trailer, they're frying away, whatever it actually is, right? Let's give them a thank you for a favorite side. What's like the best side that the fish fry has? Do we know?
I think the fish is the best.
Well, the
but-
fish is the best, right? But is there like a classic
the
side?
coleslaw is good.
The coleslaw, okay, that's great. I love it. I didn't know if they did like a mac and cheese or like a potato or something.
But they do potato.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, St. Jude's, you still have the opportunity to continue pledging after the hour closes. We want to thank you all so much. It's been a lot of joy. And really, I want to thank Joanne and Liz and Sheila for being with us, and Father Michael for your ministry. One of the topics we had was vocation, and we're all clearly striving to live that vocation here. And so we really do thank you all for that, St. Jude's. It's been such a joyful hour. I love the band. I don't think I've ever been on the radio with live banner back and forth during a fish fry. I'm going to cherish that, I think, forever. Way to go, St. Jude's. God bless you, listeners. Keep supporting Redeemer Radio and also Brad and Aaron Streisman. We had that last-minute pledge. I love it. Our total is going to end up somewhere over then, $5,940 with 41 pledges. Way to go to the St. Jude's community. Let's put our hands together for the Redeemer Radio Spring Sharathon. Whoop, 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 whoop.